Running away is easy. It's the living that's hard. Running away is easy. It's the living that's hard.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Stars Insider podcast. Sorry for the absence. I haven't been able to record. I haven't been able to sit down and just record for real. But I'm back and I'm ready to go, man. So let's get straight into this one. Recording this on Monday. It's now 2 p.m. So just a couple hours ago, the Cowboys announced that they will no longer be continuing with Mike McCarthy, and he is set to become a free agent head coach. So, yeah, first in the morning, Adam Schefter reported that they have not had any negotiations with the new deal. And, yeah, it was looking like McCarthy was going to hit the free agent market, and that was certainly is what happened. Just an hour after that, it was announced that McCarthy is not expected to return to Dallas as the head coach, and he is now a free agent per source. He says the two sides engaged in no discussions about a new deal, and McCarthy is expected to be a candidate for Chicago and New Orleans. I mean, best of luck to Coach McCarthy. He had a solid run here. Not really a lot to show for. Like, not a big accomplishment for this for him and the team, except for the 12-win seasons. But I hope he, of course, succeeds with this whatever his new team is. That's Chicago or New Orleans, wherever he goes. I wish him the best, man. But I think this is I'm not sure how to feel, to be honest, because now we are just going into territory of just like a restarting the entire thing again, which I guess doesn't suck too much, but we got some guys that are getting older, and not sure how much more of them we will be able to get. I mean, I guess I'm just really worried about Dak Prescott because he's older, and I feel like we needed a coach. We need a coach that can come in and just get things going as soon as possible. To be honest, I don't want to go into like another rebuild or whatever bullcrap people say that we're gonna get into. I'm still not sure if it was the right move to get rid of Mike McCarthy, of course, because he had all the experience. He did lead into those. It was 12-5 straight seasons. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, he never got us over the hump. I think his situation, is becoming a lot similar right now to Mike Tomlin, where they are winning head coaches. They are really good at winning and whatever not, but when it comes to those big games and when it comes to the playoffs, they just crumble. The teams just crumble, and the Cowboys just need someone that will help them get over that hump. Of course, McCarthy wasn't it, but then now if McCarthy isn't it, then you start to question bringing in a younger head coach. It's like the guy will have no experience as a true head coach. There's names out there like Cliff Kingsbury. He's not been the best head coach. Obviously with his tenure with the Commanders, he is really good as offensive coordinator. As a head coach, though, with the Cardinals, he did have that one season where he did start 7-0, but the team crumbled after that 7-0 start. So I think I'm not gonna put him down or whatever, but he's not shown that he's a good head coach. So this is gonna get interesting. I wonder what Jerry Jones, what that front office is gonna do, who they're gonna interview. I think we'll start getting like those questions answered in these next couple of days, with who the Cowboys do decide to interview, who to bring in, or also who else to let go, because Mike Zimmer, I think he was a Mike McCarthy signing, or like McCarthy pushed to sign Mike Zimmer. So maybe Mike Zimmer follows McCarthy. Maybe Jerry Jones promotes Zimmer to head coach. That's a chance. That's a possibility. I don't know. It's gonna get interesting. Uh, these next couple of days, I'm gonna try to keep you posted. I'm gonna try to post like another episode maybe before Saturday, maybe like on Friday. I'll try to post another episode just to see if we had any like other news and stuff. But that's gonna be it for the head coach talk. McCarthy gone, and yeah, man, let's hope and pray that Jerry Jones makes the right decision and brings in a guy that can truly help this team get over that hump. This next segment, I want to talk about our free agents. And I mean, this I guess the entire offseason, because now with Mike McCarthy gone, I think some of these guys might not return because maybe new coaching staff comes in and they want other guys, or maybe they don't want some of these older guys. Maybe they want to bring in guys from their other teams or whatever, you know. So we'll have to see how free agency goes. But I'm gonna go over it real quick. All of our unrestricted free agents. Of course, Cooper Rush is a free agent. Um, I wouldn't hate, I guess, the Cooper Rush signing, but I'd like to either have Trey Lance or bring in another younger guy, a guy that can come in and just learn behind Dak and see if you can develop him, and maybe he can turn out to be the future of the Cowboys. And maybe Trey Lance is that guy. Maybe Trey Lance is the guy that sits behind Dak for a couple of years, and maybe in a couple of years, in 2-3 years, maybe Trey Lance comes in and just becomes that starter right away. Um, but we'll have to see what they do with this whole quarterback thing, because right now the only quarterback who is under contract is, of course, Dak Prescott. We have no backup. I'm not sure what they'll do with Cooper Rush. Maybe they bring him back. I guess I wouldn't hate it because he's like up there as one of the better backup quarterbacks. But again, like I said, I'd for sure like a different or maybe a younger type of quarterback to sit behind Dak Prescott. I wouldn't love the signing of Cooper Rush too much. I guess I wouldn't mind it, but I want a younger guy to sit behind Dak. So I think Trey Lance is that guy. I think Trey Lance can sit behind Dak and learn. Maybe he doesn't start for the Cowboys in the future, but we can maybe get some compensation for him. Maybe get him traded at some point in the future. But I guess we'll see how this whole quarterback, I guess that QB2 spot goes down in this offseason. I guess only one free agent running back now. I guess now that Zeke got cut earlier. I think that was last week when Zeke got cut. It sucks to see Zeke go once again and just going off on like the wrong foot, to be honest. Did not have a very good season with the Cowboys. I mean, he had a terrible season with the Cowboys, to be honest. He did not really contribute in any way. Zeke was just terrible, and it sucks because he was at one point he was a top 2, top 3 running back in the NFL. But let's talk about Rico Dowdle, man. Rico Dowdle, of course, he's a free agent. I'm not sure how the Cowboys will attack that Rico Dowdle signing. I'm not sure if he'll get signed back. I think whoever the next head coach is, I think will play a big part in if Rico Dowdle does come back. I guess both head coach and offensive coordinator. I mean, whoever our guy is next up at the head coaching position, I think he should very much consider signing back Rico Dowdle. He's still young. He's still decently young, and he proved this year that he can be a really good, even starting back. Maybe go and get a guy in the draft. Maybe get a guy later in the draft to pair up with Rico Dowdle, or draft Ashton Genty. Make that 1-2 punch at the running back position. But Rico Dowdle is the guy that I really, 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 really want for the Cowboys to do sign back. Next up here we got Brandon Cooks. I'll be honest, I don't want him back. He's been okay with the Cowboys. He's had a couple flashes, but pretty inconsistent and just has not shown up for us in big games. He's not very good at creating separation. And I mean, again, he's also older. He's also on the other side, so maybe bring in a younger guy to come in and fill that spot for Brandon Cooks. Maybe elevate like a Turpin or a Tolbert to come in for Brandon Cooks. I don't know, but I don't think Brandon Cooks should be a signing. One, because he's older, and he just wasn't just very good. He straight up just was not very good with the Cowboys in these last 2 seasons. And now we got 2 offensive linemen Chuma Doga, Zach Martin. Again, Zach Martin is also on the older side. I don't know how the Cowboys are gonna do with Zach. Of course, Cowboys legend, a legend of the game, one of the best offensive guards of all time. But these last 2 years have hurt him because he just has not been good. Just he's just been on a consistent drop in play. Of course, because he's older and he's also starting to deal with a lot more injuries. And yeah, man, Zach Martin has been terrible, which sucks to say because at some point, I mean, I guess just 2 or 3 years ago, he was a top three or a top two, top one best guards in the NFL. And to see his drop off this fast just sucks to see for such a legend of the game and Zach Martin. But ever since he did go down, this offensive line did get better. And again, it sucks to say that, but the offensive line did get better once Zach Martin went down. So I do not see the Cowboys really pushing for signing Zach. Maybe bring him back on a cheap deal to help mentor, to help develop these younger guys that we have on the offensive line, like BB. Keep helping Tyler Smith, help Guyton, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass. Come in and help those guys, maybe. But as a starter, I would not like Zach Martin. Again, because he's just been bad. He really has just been horrible these past. Actually, not these past 2 years. I think last year he was okay last year. Last year he was solid. He was decent. But we did see a big drop off from the year before that. But coming into this year and this entire season, he's just looked really bad. Again, I wouldn't push for that signing of Zach Martin unless it's on a really cheap deal and he comes in and just mentors guys. But yeah, next up, Chuma Doga. He's a good depth piece. I think the Cowboys should sign him back. Really just for depth. Not really much to say on Doga. He's been solid with the Cowboys. When he's been called to start, he's been okay. Chuma is also on the younger side too. He's 27 years old. So yeah, I really want to hate a signing like that. Again, because he's a lot younger. And he's a very, very solid depth piece for this Cowboys team. But the part that can really hurt the Cowboys offseason is that pretty much the entire defensive line is going into free agency. We got a couple defensive ends. We got Chauncey Golston, DeMarcus Lawrence, Carl Lawson. Those are the defensive ends that we do have as free agents for this offseason. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is pretty much the same situation as Zach Martin. He's had a really big drop off from this past couple of years. He just really has not looked like himself, dealing with injuries, and as well he's been older. I guess he's gotten older, and you can see him just regressing. So he's pretty much the same situation again, like Zach Martin, where he's older, big drop off. If he gets re-signed, I think he re-sign him on a cheap deal, but just to come and mentor, maybe not to like be a full-time starter. So yeah, Carl Lawson, Chauncey Golston, very good depth pieces. Chauncey Golston has for sure taken a big step forward, and he's become a lot better of a pass rusher. So I wouldn't hate signing Golston, to be honest. I think he can be a really good signing for the Cowboys. And next is Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson I think he's actually been really good for this Cowboys team. Signing him early during training camp, he's came in and done a really good job of filling in for that Sam Williams spot. Of course, we're gonna have Sam Williams back next season. Let's hope Sam comes in and plays solid, plays decent, and gives the Cowboys a reason to sign him back. I love Sam Williams. I really do. Again, I really do hope he does come back and just balls out. But having Carl Lawson and Chauncey Golston would be really good just for depth. They've been really good. Carl Lawson has had a couple of really good games. I think the one you can highlight a lot is that game against the Falcons. He had 2 sacks in that game. He just went crazy against that Falcons offensive line. Really, really good day for Carl Lawson, and I think this season has proved why he should come back. But again, a lot of this can change with the coaching changes. So I guess we'll see what the coaches, what the new coaching staff does do with some of these free agent guys. We got a couple of D tackles as well. We got Osa, Carlos Watkins, and Linval Joseph. I think the one that I really want to really just put a big circle around is Oso Digizua. Again, a guy that has taken a big step from last year. He's just been balling week after week. Oso Digizua this season had 4.5 sacks, 25 solo tackles, one forced fumble. The back half of the season, I think, was probably his best little run as a Dallas Cowboy. And I hope that is enough for Jerry Jones to say that he wants him back. And again, maybe he doesn't get signed back just for the reason that the Cowboys are going to bring in a different coaching staff, and maybe that coaching staff is looking for different type of personnel. So we'll see what they do. I really want the Cowboys to push to sign Oso Digizua. Linval Joseph is older. I really wouldn't mind him going. Carlos Watkins again he's also older and he's not very good. So out of everybody on the defensive line, I think I'd put big circles around Osa, Carl Lawson, and Chauncey Golson. Carlos Watkins, DeMarcus Lawrence, I think. Yeah, Carlos Watkins, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Linval Joseph are those couple of guys that I really wouldn't hate to see go. We got a couple of linebackers that will be free agents. Kendricks, I think this might be the end of his career. I've seen a bunch of stuff on his Instagram and stuff kind of hinting towards maybe retirement. So if that is it for Eric Kendricks, I mean, he had an amazing career, a very good linebacker. And also he had actually a very good little tenure with the Cowboys and Mike Zimmer. So best of luck to Kendricks. But if he decides to not retire, I think he's a guy you sign back because he's a veteran, and he's also very good. He's still very good even though he's a lot older. How old is Eric Kendricks actually? Let me check. Kendricks is 32. I mean, he's not that old, but he might retire. So you never know. I don't know. But I'd love Kendricks to come back this season. 71 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. Had a very good season with the Cowboys. I think he missed a couple of games, but when he did play, he played it really well. So if he decided to not retire, I'd be signing that I'd love. Kind of like that DeMarcus Lawrence and Zach Martin type of deal where you can bring him back and help him mentor some of these younger guys and see where he can help. And I mean he for sure does help this linebacker room. Nick Vigil, Darius Harris. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of Darius Harris. I'm sorry, Mr. Harris, but I have never heard about you, dog. 47. He's 28. I didn't even know the Cowboys had this guy. Yeah, I can't say anything about Harris. Vigil, he's 31. He's also older. I just don't think the Cowboys signed him back. I don't have much to say on Vigil. He's been a solid special teams guy. When he was called to start, he played well. But really, I don't think the Cowboys will resign Vigil Harris, I guess. We got a couple of cornerbacks now. CJ Goodwin, special teams demon. I don't know. I feel like CJ Goodwin is that type of guy to get re-signed just for no reason. He just get re-signed to like a 2-year deal. He's 34 though. He is very old. We'll see what the Cowboys do with CJ Goodwin. He's been a really good special teams guy. But again, we'll see what they do with him. Now, we're getting into those guys that I think the Cowboys should sign back for sure because that cornerback position is very much depleted. We only have 2 good cornerbacks under contract for next season, and that is, of course, Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. Those are the only 2 good ones. You might have some other ones in there, but the rest are not good. Kellen Carson, rookie, he's been solid, but he actually has not been good. I'm not even going to say he's been solid. He's actually been pretty bad. But I hope Al Harris can help him develop and become a better player. But now we have Jordan Lewis, Israel Mukuamu, and Amani Oruwariye. Cornerback Jordan Lewis, past 2 years, been a dog. I think he's been easily like a top. I think he's easily like a top 10 slot cornerback in the NFL. On this season, 39 tackles, one forced fumble, one interception, 8 passes deflected. Again, I think this is his best year as a Cowboy. Just balled out in that back half of the season, and with missing Diggs and Deron Bland for a couple of games, he's really just filled that position, and he's been extremely good. I really wouldn't hate again signing Mr. Lewis. He's 29 years old. But maybe he gets a big bag from somewhere else and he decides to not come to the Cowboys. I think that's gonna be a big like deal for I think Jordan Lewis, Osa, maybe Chauncey, and maybe Lance are for sure gonna be the guys that do get targeted by other teams in free agency. But I hope the Cowboys do bring Jordan Lewis back. He's been extremely good. Again, he's been just an elite slot cornerback for this Cowboys team, and I think he's a guy that you have to bring back. I think he's a must bring back. He's been extremely good, an amazing tackler, a really good coverage guy, and a leader as well in that locker room. I feel like when people talk about Lewis, they only talk highly about him. He's been extremely good, and I think he's for sure a must sign for this Cowboys team. Israel Mukuamu, safety / corner. He is 25 years old. I think he's a guy that you can develop. I think him, Marquise Bell, and Wanya Thomas are very much developable pieces for this Cowboys team. Not sure if Israel Mukuamu does get signed back, but if he does, I mean, I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. He's solid as a depth piece as a corner. He's also solid as a safety. Wouldn't hate him. Versatile type of guy on this defense. I really would not hate the re-signing of Israel Mukuamu. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for Israel. Amani Oruwariye. This guy's actually been really good. He got injured, of course, in that little back half of the season. He was placed on IR 16 days ago for that foot injury, but he's been really good. Yeah, he's actually been really good for the Cowboys. I think he was just a free agent signing, like it either was like early training camp or like early in the season. Like no, late training camp or like early in the season. Amani has actually been one of the better corners this season. Of course, with Diggs out a couple of games, Bland out a couple of games, he's come in and actually been really good. I think the only like big miscue from Amani was that one touchdown he did let up against the Carolina Panthers where he just let Coker just run past him. He just did not follow him. But apart from that one play, he's been extremely good. I think he can for sure come back and be a really good depth piece for this Cowboys team. Probably not a starter for the team, but a very good depth piece for the Cowboys. So that's another guy that I for sure would like the Cowboys to re-sign. I think that's another guy that you put a circle around and like this is a guy that you re-sign for sure just because he's a really good depth guy, and he can for sure ball. But yeah, that's probably it on Amani Oruwariye. We got 2 more guys. The punter Bryan Anger, Trent Sieg, signing back. I don't care really too much about these guys. Sorry, no, I'm not gonna say that, bro. I love these guys. They're actually like really cool. So I hope Bryan Anger and Sieg do get re-signed. But we'll see. All right, so that's gonna be it for our free agents, unrestricted free agents for this Cowboys team. Again, a lot can change. I think if McCarthy was still here, a bunch of these guys would get re-signed. But if you do get a new coach, like I said earlier, maybe that coach wants to get different guys. Maybe he likes a different type of personnel. Maybe he likes, I don't know. I think kind of like what Mike Zimmer did, where he came in and signed Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips, something like that. But I don't know. If another head coach comes in, maybe these guys get re-signed, maybe they don't. But I guess we'll see in these past couple of weeks what the Cowboys do decide to do with that head coaching position. So yeah, just as I'm recording this, Mr. Jones has dropped a statement on the departure of Mr. Mike McCarthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this to y'all. See what Mr. Jerry Jones has said. I actually have not even read this, so I'll see. Throughout Mike McCarthy's tenure here, including the last several weeks, he has been very complimentary of the job he has done. He that has applied to our record over the time period, our team unity and culture, Mike's qualifications and track record of success on that person, on and on a personal level, is a tremendous human being, said Cowboys owner. President and General Manager Jerry Jones said, I have great respect for Mike McCarthy. He has led the team through some very unique, challenging times during his tenure. Over the past week, Mike and I have had the opportunity to conduct a joint review of all aspects of the past season, our players and staff, and also spent considerable time discussing the road forward for the team. These discussions were thorough and received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover. Prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, though it became mutually clear that it would be better for us to head in a different direction, I think Mike McCarthy and wish him, his wife Jessica, and their family the best. They have been a wonderful part of the community here. We will commence a search process immediately for the hire of the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So McCarthy's basically just thanking Mr. McCarthy for everything he did. I guess they both knew that that was probably it for Mr. McCarthy. Yeah, they probably knew that was it for McCarthy since like a couple of weeks ago, because he said prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, though it became mutually clear that it would be better for each of us to head in a different direction. So yeah, these motherfuckers already knew that they were not gonna continue. They just made a big deal about it for a couple of weeks and just I don't know. But yeah, McCarthy's gone, and he said that they will begin the search process for head coach immediately. I guess that's a good sign. I guess it's a good sign that I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good sign. I don't know if anything. But I just pray to God that Jerry Jones does the right decision and decides to sign the right guy and doesn't just go and sign like some bull crap, just some I guess it's some bullshit, just head coach. Like signing like Jason Witten or something, I think it would just be like the most Jerry Jones shit to do, and I would hate it because I mean Jason Witten has coached the fucking high school level, so I would not like that. I hope he takes his time. I hope again, I pray that he does the right thing and he signs the right guy for the job. But I guess we'll see what happens in these next couple of days, couple of weeks. That's gonna be it for our little free agency talk and a little breaking news that we got from Mr. McCarthy. Let's get into our little 3-round mock draft. I did not pay my PFF subscription because they charge a shit ton. Um, I might redo my subscription. I don't know though. But since I do not have the PFF subscription, I will not be able to do a full 7-round mock, even though I did want to do it. And I don't like these other websites where you do mocks. I'm gonna stick with a little 3-round mock draft here for the Cowboys. I'm gonna give y'all a little something here. Genty's probably not gonna drop to 12 because I cannot mess around with the settings. So, all right, man, let's get straight into this mock. I've talked about this before. The Cowboys can go. I think the Cowboys can very much go just 3 separate positions. This is not in any certain order, but I think running back, tackle, and the defensive line. I think, of course, running back because we need a running back. We have only Rico Dowdle under contract. No, I'm tripping. We do not have Rico Dowdle under contract, so that's actually a big reason why we need a running back. We have who do we have under contract for next season? I think Deuce Vaughn and like what was his name? I think Mike Davis, or is it Mike Davis? It's something Davis? I forgot his name. But number 32 though, practice squad guy. I think that's our only two running backs under contract for next season. So running back, I think it's a must go at any point in the draft. A running back has to go. You cannot do the shit you did last year where you just pass up on every running back you see. I pray that we do not do that stupid shit again. And the Cowboys draft a good running back. That's either early in the draft. I think the Cowboys should not go past pick. What is it? Past 670, past pick 76 without drafting a running back. If the Cowboys go past round 3 without drafting a running back, just chalk the whole shit up. I think just chalk 2025, and that's over. Unless a guy like Jordan James makes it to like whatever our like 5th round pick is. I think just chalk everything. Running backs must go. Defensive line, we have a bunch of guys like I talked about just now. How we have a lot of guys heading into 2025 as free agents. So defensive line is a pretty solid way to go here. And tackle, of course. We did draft Mr. Guyton. He has not been very good. Not saying we should replace him. No, not at all. We should either let him develop at left tackle or bounce him back to right tackle, his original position. Bounce Guyton back to right tackle and trade or just straight up cut Terrence Steele. Probably not what they're going to do. But, I mean, I guess we'll see. A lot of these guys, though, in the first round are considered to be quote-unquote guards because they're small. Or no, they're not small, but they do not have the athleticism and the arm length to be tackles in the NFL. Like Kelvin Banks and Campbell are like those two main guys that are considered more guards than tackles. So I just don't see the Cowboys drafting a guard this early, dude. I mean, if they do, man, it's I don't know. But if the Cowboys draft a tackle dead ass this early, not a tackle, a guard this early, just another big stuff from the Cowboys to do that. But here we go with this. Will Johnson dropped to me at pick 12. That's insane. That's actually insane. Will Johnson did drop to me here at pick 12. He is, I think, the second best, if not the best cornerback in this draft class. A dog. And if somehow this happens in real life and like nobody else is here, like I'm not nobody else, but like Genty and Burden aren't here, I really wouldn't hate a cornerback. I mean, Diggs has been banged up for the past couple for this past couple 2 years. He's been bad. Diggs has not been very good. Yeah, I think the injuries for sure hurt him a lot because the start of that 2023 season was extremely good. He played like a lockdown corner. I think he allowed maybe like one reception or just no receptions at all. Diggs played out of his mind, but then the ACL happened, and then he comes back. He plays okay with the Cowboys this season, and then he gets re-injured again, and now we're not sure of the severity of his injury. So the cornerback position is in a big, like, I think a lot of people have like a big question mark around that cornerback position. And I wouldn't hate bringing a top guy from the draft to the team like Will Johnson. This is a freaky like pick. Like I really would not hate this. Especially because it's Will Johnson. Like you don't see this guy drop it like ever. It's actually crazy. Will Johnson dropping here, like where else would you go? Egbuka? Egbuka's actually nasty. Egbuka's a really good player. We've seen that throughout the year and in the playoffs. He's balled out. I've watched every Ohio State game. In the playoffs, he's just been crazy. You know what? I'm gonna send it, man. I'm gonna draft Will Johnson at pick 12. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it because I mean, he's insane. I guess we do have bigger needs, but he's nasty, dog. Like he's actually insane. Oh my gosh, dude, there's another dog here. Um, Donovan Zaraku is actually really good edge rusher out of Boston College, 6'2", 247. But Mike Green is here. Mike Green's here at pick 40. What is it? 44. Mike Green's here, man. He's here. He's here. He's a dog. I've actually heard people's like this is probably insane to say, but I've heard people say that the Cowboys should have considered picking him at 12. People have Mike Green higher on their draft boards. They have him higher than like James Pierce, Jack Sawyer. I've seen people talk extremely high on Mike Green, and some people also talk a little low on Mike Green. But I love that pick. We got Cam Scatterboo here. Don't hate that pick either. Scatterboo's a dog. That game against Texas, I think, showed why he should be at least a second round pick. He's actually just insane. I like Scatterboo a lot. I'm that kind of did put me a little more on that Scatterboo train. He's 5'11", 225. He just plays like he's 250. He just runs over everybody, and he has a pretty like solid speed on him too. I love Scatterboo here. I think the two picks here, if this is how the draft goes down, I think the two picks that like the Cowboys should look into is Scatterboo or Mike Green. You can maybe talk about the interior. I think you can wait on that a little more though, until like round 3 or maybe like later in the draft. Especially if you re-sign Osa Odigizua. If you re-sign Osa, I think it gives you a big boost, obviously, the defensive line, and it gives you a reason to not go with interior defensive lineman super early, at least not in the first 3 picks of the draft. So I'm gonna say Osa gets signed back. I would go Derek Harmon like in the third. He always drops to like the 3rd round for no reason. I think Harmon is like arguably like a first round pick or like a early 2nd rounder. So I don't know why he drops this far in PFF mock drafts. I'm not gonna pass up on a dog. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Cam Scatterboo, Scattergoat. Yeah, I love Cam Scatterboo. He's a dog. Again, he's big. He plays big. Like I don't know how to explain it, but he just plays like he's big. I love the way he plays. Round 3, I think you consider probably wide receiver here. Was Nick Nash in the like? Did he like just announce that he's declaring for the draft? Because I have not seen this dude in the draft, like in like the draft boards here. He was arguably like the best receiver in college football this season. Had an insane year, 1,300 receptions, not 1,300 receiving yards, 104 receptions, 16 touchdowns. He actually like balled out. And I guess he did declare for the draft because he was not here before. So that's like low key like a sneaky good pick. If the Cowboys can like snag him like later, maybe like in the 5th round or like trade up into the 4th, like mid to late 4th round, trade up and pick up Nick Nash. I have not seen like highlights or like film on him at all. But I have heard from a lot of people that do watch college football religiously that Nick Nash should have probably won the best receiver in college football this season. I guess I wouldn't hate it like in the 4th or 5th round. Yes, for that reason, I'm not gonna go receiver here. You could probably talk me into Tez Johnson too. I love Tez Johnson, but if like Nick Nash is there, like late, probably go with him. He is 6'3", 195. He's actually insane. Nick Nash is there in like the late 4th or like early 5th. I think he's a go. I think you go with him. He's 6'3", 195. Like he's big, a big receiver, and that's I think what the Cowboys for sure need. So I don't hate picking. I think I wouldn't hate picking up Nick Nash. From what I've heard of him, I have not I have not watched anything of him, but from what I've heard of him, picking him up like in the fifth, early, early fifth, like late fourth, I guess it would be a steal. So I will not be going there. Mm, I actually heard people talk highly of this guy from William and Mary, Charles Grant, when he's playing a bunch of like mailmen and accountants, and like he's playing just with just terrible competition. I'm not gonna pick him. I don't know anything about Charles Grant either, to be honest. I've just heard some people talk about him like he's really good. So I guess here I'm to be honest, I'm gonna go interior. Derek Harmon's here. I'm not gonna pick him though because I think it's extremely unrealistic to pick a guy like Harmon this late. I don't know why he drops this late, like pretty much every time. I'm gonna look at the linebacker position. We got Jeffrey Bossa, a guy that I like a lot. I've watched a good bit of him. I think it's Danny Stutzman. He's a dog. Yeah, Stutzman's actually like really good. Reminds me of Van Der Esch mostly because of like the little horse collar he wears. But I think I might go Danny Stutzman here. I've also heard people on my comments talk about him a lot and say how the Cowboys should go pick him up. So I'll make this a bit of like a fan pick and people that have talked about him type of pick. So I'm gonna go with Danny Stutzman here, linebacker out of Oklahoma. He's also like 6'3" too. He's a very big linebacker. He is very much versatile. That's gonna be it for the mock. They have Will Johnson graded as a A+, of course. Like it's an insane grab at 12. I just don't see. There's a very small possibility Will Johnson drops to the pick 12, but if he does drop, he's a pick. He's a must pick. You have like a third like elite cornerback in that class. It would be in that cornerback room. That'd be insane. And of course, Scatterboo, he's a demon, and Mr. Stutzman. But thinking about it now, I think Stutzman's probably more of a late third to like late fourth. I think he's like more in like that late third to like late fourth, early fifth type of guy. So I think I for sure reached on him, and PFF is making that known because they graded him an F here. But that's gonna be it for my little mock. Again, Will Johnson, Scatterboo, and Stutzman. That's gonna be it for a little mock draft, and that's also gonna be it for today's podcast, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this pod. Again, I'm gonna try to drop another podcast probably later in the week. See if we have any new updates on our head coaching candidates. And yeah, man, that's gonna be it for today. I hope y'all guys have an amazing day. Hope y'all guys have a blessed day. God bless each and every single one of y'all boys and girls. And yeah, peace.
Running away as easy